Hi everyone, welcome back. We hope that you are alright and that you've been singing a lot these days.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago in our last video we mentioned twang, and today we wanted to dive a little bit deeper into it. So there's tons of information about it on the internet, but I personally found it quite confusing, to be honest. So yeah, we'll see what we can do for you today.
Also, there are many myths around it. Even professionals believe and share certain theories. We will go through all of it today, and as always, we hope you find it useful and interesting. So let's start simple. What is twang, Tabea?
So yeah, that's a very good question, and I think it's very important to make this clear because that will also explain why some myths are myths. So to keep it simple, as you said, Daria, twang is a setting in our vocal tract, and it actually happens above the vocal folds. Okay, so it's basically a narrowing of that vocal tract above the vocal folds, and it helps the vocal folds to vibrate more freely and in a healthy manner. So there are different amounts of twang. So we can have a necessary twang, which is the minimum amount that we need to actually create a healthy sound and that we can be heard. For example, ah. Okay, so I'm already twanging. I'm maybe not extremely loud or sharp, or what people would think twang actually is, but I'm definitely twanging enough to create that sound and not harm my voice. On the other hand, there's the distinct twang, and that is of course sharper and louder, and it sounds more like the duck sound that you hear everywhere on the internet. And I mean, you can also speak and sing like that if you want to be heard even more in loud space. And it would be something like this. Ah! Okay, so that's pretty loud and sharp. But I mean, that is distinct twang. But you can also do less and still be twanging. That's totally okay. It's just you really need that minimum to actually be healthy.
Yeah, and that is exactly the reason why the information that I'm going to talk about now is a myth. Some people say that twang is in effect, but we know that it isn't true because the twang is a setting that we just all have all the time whenever we sing or speak or make any sound. We can use more or less twang depending on whether we want our sound to be sharper or softer, but we have to apply at least a minimum of it all the time, whether we are aware of it or not, to be able to sing and speak in a healthy manner and to just be heard. So, since twang is something that we always need and we cannot do without it, it is rather a basic, a necessary setting, and this is why CVT includes it in 3 overall principles. On the other hand, effects are additional sounds that you can produce in your vocal tract. They underline the expression and emotion or style of a singer. They are only an artistic choice. You can also sing without any of them and it still will be beautiful. But you cannot sing without at least a minimum of twang, at least not in a healthy manner. Okay, so what about you, Tabea? Have you heard about any myths on the twang?
Yes, actually one very interesting. So many people confuse twang with nasality. And maybe that's your case as well if you're watching us right now. It was my case, definitely my case, before I studied the CVT course. And this happens because many vocal coaches on the internet explain twang with just sound examples like mac, 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 mac. And yeah, they don't actually explain the anatomical part. So what happens then is just that many singers imitate that sound without actually knowing what is going on in the throat and where twang is taking place. So as a result, they think that twang is that really sharp, bright, nasal baby or duck sound, like wah, wah, or the previous one that I did, that mac, mac, mac. And they don't actually understand that it is one thing to narrow the space above the vocal folds, as we explained earlier, and another one to open the nasal passage. So nasality takes place here, well, behind, and twang actually takes place here above the vocal folds. So of course, you can do both of them simultaneously, but you can also perform just twang without any nasality. So if you want to test that, there's actually a really nice trick that you can use. You can just produce a sound and try and twang it a lot, and then just hold your nose. For example, okay, I'm twanging a lot. It sounds really sharp, but the sound doesn't change when I hold my nose. If I sing with a nasal sound and also twanged, it would be like this. And you realize the sound changes. That means that you're not just twanging, but also singing nasal.
So that was all from us today. Please feel free to share your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. And also, if you've heard other things about twang and you want to know whether they are true or not, you can write it in the comments too. Who knows, maybe we'll make a second part out of this.
And we'll leave some timestamps in the description below, and also our contact details in case you would like to book a session with Daria or with me. Stay safe and enjoy your singing. Bye!
Bye!